Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Isaac. We are back in the bedroom with another video, and today I'm just going to be building on the last video I made. So again, we're going to be talking about depression. In the last video, we talked about how depression can cause brain atrophy, cognitive dysfunction, and is a neuropathic state that might cause irreversible damage to your brain. In this video, I'm going to be building upon that. We're going to be talking about treatments for depression, but we're more so going to be talking about the philosophy of treatment when it comes to depression. How aggressive should you be when treating depression? Is depression a disorder where you can kind of take a step back and wait a couple weeks before initiating pharmacotherapy, wait for it to potentially get better on its own? Or is depression something that is much more serious that you need to treat aggressively and early for the best health outcome? So let's talk about that. But before I get into that, I promised my friend Daniel Borns that I would link his podcast. So if you have not already, check out Daniel Borns' podcast. Him and his classmates at the McMaster Med School put together this amazing medical podcast. Very interesting. They interview lots and lots and lots of experts. So check out their podcast. I'll link it around somewhere. And Daniel, that is for you, my friend. So now let's get into the video. I'm going to be talking about some studies that were stolen from Dr. Philip Gorwood. So if you get a chance, check out his seminar. I'll link that in the description box below as well. But I do not come up with these I do not come up with the content myself. I generally steal it from people who are smarter than me. So that is what I do. So first, let's talk about when to initiate treatment. In this study, it pretty much implies that you should be treating people early, that treating people early is going to lead to better treatment response and faster treatment response. So let's talk about that study now. This one was done by Diego and colleagues. They had 141 depressed patients. They divided them into two different groups. The first group was treated within 8 weeks with an antidepressant. The second group was treated after 8 weeks of diagnosis with an antidepressant. And what did they find? They found that the group that was treated earlier tended to have a better response to treatment than the group that was treated later. They also found that the group that was treated earlier had a better onset compared to the group that was treated later. And you kind of see these two graphs here. In the first one, you see a better treatment response in the group that was treated earlier. Pretty big discrepancy there. Definitely a big discrepancy when it came to the first depressive episode. So if it is someone's first depressive episode, make sure they're treated earlier. And then in the second graph, you can kind of see the onset. We have a survival curve here, and you can see it took 20 days for half of the individuals in the first treatment group to respond to treatment, and it took 39 days for half of the individuals in the second group, so that later treatment group, to respond to treatment. So pretty big discrepancy when it came to treatment response and onset. And in case you guys don't know, antidepressants don't start working right away. Generally, it takes a couple weeks for them to start kicking in, and it takes up to 6 weeks for them to reach that really maximum peak response that you can get from them. So just FYI. So that's the first study that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the second study now. The second study I want to show you guys was done by Kessing and colleagues. Here they took a look at 20,000 patients admitted to the hospital with a mood disorder. So in this case, we're talking about either depression or mania, I believe. And they tracked how many of these patients had recurrent episodes. And what the researchers found is that each additional episode of depression tended to increase the chances that the patients would relapse. So you can see on this graph here, after the second episode, after the third, after the fourth episode, the chances of having an additional episodes go up and up and up. So for me, these results really imply that if you can really nail down that first depressive episode, if you can really get that under control and treat it sufficiently so that you don't have any relapses, that is what is going to give you the best probability of having a favorable health outcome, of having no additional relapses, and of minimizing your exposure to the neurotoxic depressive state, which also will cause chronic exposure to stress hormone, which is going to increase your chances of diabetes, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease, and it's also going to shut down your immune system. And I don't think I talked about stress hormone, but maybe in one of these videos I'll go more into detail. But essentially, depression, the depressive state, involves the chronic release of stress hormone. And stress hormone, this is the hormone that you would release if you were attacked by a lion. And, if you're attacked by a lion, it would make sense for your body to release that stress hormone. It will, increase the amounts of glucose in your body, increase the amount of sugar that your muscles can uptake so you can run faster and whatnot. It'll also have a nice anti-inflammatory response. But if you are constantly producing this stress hormone, it really, really, really wreaks havoc on your body over time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you guys about today. These data, in my opinion, suggest that for the best health outcomes, you want to treat depression aggressively, you want to treat it early, you want to treat it adequately so that you don't have any of these relapses, because the longer you wait, the more depressive episodes you have, the longer you put depression on the back burner and you avoid treatment, the more likely you are to have a poor health outcome. So do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you again for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one.